everyone, welcome back to eBritish IELTS. In this class we are going to do academic reading, question type, gap fill up. Now in our previous video we have already spoken about gap fill ups having several avatars. So we are going to tackle one of those avatars today. Let's see which one we are going to take up in this class. So just give me a minute. Here we go. So today's lesson is going to be about how to fill in gaps from a given list of words. Now this is slightly different from the previous question type that we have discussed in our earlier video. And this is not as straightforward as finding words straight from the passage, and we have to follow slightly different principles here. So the things that we need to keep in mind would be, straight away we are going to look for a grammatical fit from the list of words that have been given to us, and then we are going to shortlist the options. So after reading the question, we are going to look at the list of words that have been given, that has been given for us, and then we are going to shortlist the options, bring it down to 2 or 3 possible options, and then come back to the passage for narrowing them down even further. So the first thing again that we are looking for is the grammatical fit and shortlisting the words from the list based on that. The second thing that we do is read the question statement, identify some keywords with the help of which we are going to skim and scan the passage. While we are scanning and skimming through the text, we are going to keep our minds open, our ears open, and our eyes peeled for the synonyms. And we are not simply looking for synonyms, because here you are given a list of words, so you will not always find an exact fit or an exact synonyms, but you will have to work with something that fits closely enough. Okay, so let us see what all these things mean. Let us solve a few examples and put these principles into practice. Okay, so here is our passage, the Vikings' wayfaring ways. Now it's a longish passage which runs into 3 pages, but don't worry, I'll bring you back to the relevant portions of the text as we go through the questions. Now coming to the questions first, as is the norm guys, you are not going to read the passage first at all. You are going to come straight to the questions. First read the question statement, then narrow down the options by checking for a grammatical fit, and then after that go back to the passage to check which of those options apply in the gaps. So let's get cracking. The first line says, the people known as Vikings were given this name because they were dash. What were they? We are looking for a noun here. So out of the list of words A to O, if I go through all of them, I see that there are 2 nouns, warriors and explorers, that fit probably in that gap, number 1. So keeping that in mind, warriors and explorers, because why were they given the name Vikings? Were they warriors or were they explorers? Keeping those 2 words in mind, like I said, I'm going back to the text. Now the heading of a passage gives us a lot of information about the passage. It tells us what the passage is about. So the Vikings' wayfaring ways. Wayfaring means traveling, most often by foot, but traveling in a general way also. So I'm going to start skimming and scanning, I'm sorry, and I'm looking for explorers, I'm looking for warriors. So I find warriors in the first line. They are known as fierce warriors. Now, the Vikings are also the most far-ranging people. In fact, the term Viking in Old Norse means to go on an expedition. Who goes on an expedition, guys? Explorers do. Now, very importantly, I'm going to go back to the question. The people known as Vikings were given this name. Why were they given this name? This term Viking is what we are looking at. So given this name comes up as synonym here, which is the term Viking. Okay, and what does it mean in literal sense? It means going on an expedition. They go on an expedition. So like I said, they are explorers. So that's the relevant portion of the text which has been marked out for you. They journeyed from their native Norway, Denmark. They were explorers, which appears yet again, is reiterated, if we can say so, in the following line as well. So don't be misled by the warriors in the first line. They were known as fierce warriors. So here I want to elaborate a point. Why are we looking for the synonym of the term Viking, or what appears in the question here as were given this name? Because this terminology, this particular name Vikings, why were they given this name? That is more important than known as, which appears both here in the first line and in the question even. The people known as Vikings. So that is a red herring that is placed there to mislead you, to make you go for the word warriors rather than for explorers. So you have to be very, very careful about it. Yes, they are known as explorers, they are known as fierce warriors, but exactly what does Vikings, the word itself, mean? So the term, this name means in Old Norse to go on an expedition, and the subsequent line, like I say, clarifies this further. Viking explorers journeyed from their native Norway, Denmark, and sped into many distant lands. Okay guys, so do not get confused by similar words or by words placed out there to deliberately throw you off. Now moving on to the second sentence, they were the first Europeans who gap then North America. What's the key word here? It would be North America. I'm looking for a verb here. They were the first Europeans who did what in North America? So if I look at the list of words before going to the passage, what fits in grammatically is probably they conquered North America or they settled in North America. It could be either of those two. Now let us go back to the unmarked text, the very first page, and let us scan for North America. That should be easy to do because it is a proper noun, and we see it comes up right here in the second last line of the third paragraph. Right guys, so that is right at the end of the sentence, so we have to go backwards and read and try to make sense out of that sentence. Does it say anything about what they did in North America? The fleet sailed west to North America, but it does not tell us anything more. So we read ahead now this time. There they established the first European settlement in the New World called Finland. European settlement in the New World in North America. So let us see if we can find a related word to European settlement, establishment of European settlement, from the list of words that are there for us. Okay, so what do we see here? No, the said word settlement is not there, but there is settled. So option H would be the right one. So what did they do? They put up in North America. They had a settlement there. They settled in North America. So yes, that is the highlighted part of the text for you, from where the answer comes. Okay, going back to the next gap. Groups from Denmark dash large areas of England and France. So what fits in grammatically? A few things from the list would definitely. At this time I'm going to, it's too general, so I'm going to go to the passage straight away. My keywords would be Denmark, England, France, all easy proper nouns which I expect would leap out at me from the text. So we had read up to this point. So the next part of the text comes straight to the point. Vikings from Denmark meanwhile ravaged large swaths of England and France. So in one sentence we find Denmark, England and France. So without any doubt, this is where our answer comes from. So what did they do? Ignoring the proper nouns and the names of the places and Vikings there, what did they do? The only verb there is ravage large swaths. Now I go to the list of words and I do not find a close enough synonym for ravaged. Well, of course there is conquered, but that isn't an exact fit. So I'm still trying to identify synonym and be sure, absolutely sure, that this is the word that's going to fit into the gap. So what comes after the gap here? If I would read the question once again for you. Groups from Denmark dash large areas of England and France. Now since I did not find a word that fits into the gap and has a close synonym in the passage, I'm cross-checking once again over here. So what follows after the gap is large areas of England and France. Let us go back to the text. It says they ravage large swaths of England and France, which means large expanses or large areas, which is a exact match for what follows after gap number 3, large areas of England and France. So we pick the word that comes before that, before large swaths of England and France, ravaged. That's the word, which although not a very, very close synonym of conquered, is a close enough, I can say that even if it's not a twin, it's a cousin. Okay, the last few sections we have filled out the gaps for you because we can only do so many and not anymore, but I left one deliberately out to be solved together with you because this is a particularly tricky one. So gap number 4 here. They traveled down Russian rivers, then journeyed deep into Asia by, and then the gap. Now, how did they journey deep into Asia? By. So they are looking for a mode of transportation here. By train, by ship, by airplane, on horsebacks, on mules, donkeys, it could be anything. So I need to see what fits in from the list of words given to us first. What is a grammatical fit? Once again, that's the first step, right? It helps us narrow down options like I said earlier. So what fits in is, yes, for if I'm looking for a mode of transportation, I, ship fits in and O, horse fits in. Although I'm not particularly happy about journeying deep into Asia by horse, I would have liked on horseback, but okay, I'll keep that option open. I'll keep horse as well as ship open. Now let's go back to the text. So we're talking about Russian rivers. Okay, so we're talking about Russian rivers. We find that in the last paragraph, right? but it doesn't say anything about going into deep into Asia. So let us see where it comes from. Here I have marked out the relevant part of the text. So Vikings of Sweden meanwhile were moving out of Scandinavia to the east and south, and if I skip read and look for the rivers here, yes, there is another mention of rivers here. And the last line, Viking merchants on horseback penetrated far into the Asian heartland. So this is going deep into Asia. Going into the Asian heartland is deep into Asia. And how did they go? Viking merchants on horseback. You see, there is no mention about ships here, although there are rivers mentioned, but there is no mention of ship there, and clearly says Viking merchants on horseback penetrated far into Asian heartland, which is a match for journeying deep into Asia. Okay, sorry for that, guys. Okay, so that's the principle. So again, to summarize, guys, so here are your answers, final answers, and you remember that you are not going to yes, here are your answers. You remember, you're not going to write the full words, you are going to put in the alphabets, because that's what has been asked of you, right? And to reiterate, guys, first of all, read the sentence, read the question. Do not read the paragraph first. You're going to get confused and you're going to lose valuable time. So what you're going to have to do first of all is to read the question. When provided with a list of words, narrow down options from the list of words, and then go to the text looking for synonyms based on the keywords that you have from the question itself. So guys, I hope that helps. And like I said, these come in many different forms. Even you have fill up the blanks in the form of a flowchart that is given to you, and you are asked to complete the information flow by picking out words from the paragraph straight away. So that's for another day, guys. Keep practicing and see you soon.